If you've heard about the three-word method by Allison Bornstein and you've tried to find your words, but you still can't figure out exactly what they are, this video is for you. I've been experimenting with my own style words for about 6 months now, and I finally feel like I have found them. And it took a few extra things than what Allison has shared in her book. And so in today's video, I want to give you all of the very practical and slightly weird questions that I had to ask myself in order to find my three words. And I want to help you to find your style by finding who you are and what you like. Let's get into it. If you're brand new to the three-word concept, let me just give you a very quick overview. It's basically finding three different words, one being practical, the second one being aspirational, and the third one emotional, that describe your style. And by bringing them all together, you create your own unique personal style. The problem with the three-word method, as it is described in Allison's book and in her videos, is that it gives you guidance, but it's not super helpful in terms of how do you actually know if a word is yours or not. And so for me personally, I was only sure about one of my three words, with the other two being quite varied. And so I want to walk you through the process of how you can find your own three words by showing you how I found mine. So this is the really weird questions that I had to ask myself in order to know whether a word was mine or not. So the first question is picture the opposite of that word. Do you like it, are you neutral, or do you hate it? And you kind of have to hate the opposite aesthetic of that in order for a word to be yours. That's the first thing. And then the second question to ask yourself is, okay, if we take your word and kind of push it to the extreme, would you still be okay to wear that outfit? Now, of course, you might be a little bit uncomfortable, but are you very uncomfortable, or are you just like, I could if I had to kind of thing? So I'll show you exactly what I mean, because my first word was actually the hardest to find. And this is where I use those questions to really help me find it. So the first word is the practical one. And how Allison describes it in her book, this is your comfort zone. These are things that you wear often on a day-to-day basis. You feel good in them, you feel confident in them. And this might not be your most favorite items or your aspirational style, how you actually want to dress, but this is the reality. These are your go-to pieces. And so what you need to do is take out about 10 to 20 pieces that you wear a lot and try and find what are the common elements in between them. So for me, I actually decided to make this collage because I had elements from different seasons and I put them all together and tried to ask myself, what are the common themes? Why do I actually like wearing those pieces? And so I wrote down a couple things. Number one is that I like items that are really comfortable and easy to wear. So you can see there are no high-heeled shoes. There is nothing that's very stiff. There's nothing that has really weird details that make it weird and hard to wear, right? So they're all very comfortable and easy. The second thing I put is classic, because you can see there are blouses and trousers and loafers, blazers, just quite traditional items, quite classic things that were in style 5-10 years ago, might be in style in another 5-10 years. Number three, I noticed that all the items were quite minimal. So they were either solid colors or they had quite simple patterns like stripes or plaid, but kind of very unobtrusive plaid. And the final word I wrote is easy, because I find those items really easy to style. And I know that when I wear them, it takes me about 5 minutes to put an outfit, not 50. And so the words that I had were classic, minimal, easy, comfortable, practical, effortless. And for some reason, none of those words felt like my word. Like they were describing the items, but they weren't right. I asked myself, okay, if I don't have to use a word, how I would describe my items? And I said, well, basics with a twist. So it's jeans, but having paperback waist. Or it's a blouse, but having floral pattern. Or it's a tank top, but having rhinestones. Or loafers and sneakers, but pink, right? So they're basic, they're simple, but there is that twist. And I just couldn't put out a specific word that would describe that twist. And this is where I think asking an external person, someone that isn't you, for help can be so beneficial. And I'm actually part of a style channel that's created by the app Index. And there is a channel there for finding your three words. And so I posted that PDF with my common items and I asked, okay, what do you see? And one lady was kind enough to actually reply. And she said, okay, hear me out. I think that the word is feminine. And it just dropped like a lead balloon. because I realized that this is exactly correct for me. So this is the most extreme differentiator for me. I asked myself, okay, what's the opposite of feminine? And is this androgynous masculine sort of vibe? And a brand that has this aesthetic is, for example, The Road. So I went on their website, and this is what a very kind of unisex masculine almost tank top would look like. And these are my actual tank tops. So you can see this one has rhinestones. It's exactly the same shape as the rose one, but it has rhinestones and it's a bit more fitted. And then this one, again, same sort of fabric. It's still cotton, but it has this very interesting detail. It has the cutout, open shoulder. So it's a lot more feminine than your traditional one. And then the same thing applies with another one. So let's say a white blouse. The more masculine version of it is this very structured, crisp cotton one. No details, no embellishment, like very classic, very structured. And then these are two different ones. Again, cotton. I have a lot of silk ones, but let's say cotton ones. This one has pearl buttons and then this sort of dot details, and it's made from very, very soft, form-fitting cotton. And then this one that I got quite recently, it has a lot of like floral applique details. Again, very, very beautiful and very feminine. If you don't actually have anyone to ask or you haven't found this to actually work for you, let me show you how to use my 2 weird questions that I shared at the beginning to find which word is yours. Let's take a word and create the very, very extreme version of it. So for example, for me, for comfortable, the very extreme version would be leggings, sneakers, pajama pants, very just casual tank tops, hoodies, but like very oversized, right? And I looked at those outfits and they look great on other people, but on me, they just completely don't feel like me. And so that's taking this aesthetic to the extreme and it's not good. And then I also asked myself, okay, but if something isn't super comfortable, could I still wear it? And yeah, I mean, I wear blazers, I wear trousers, and to a lot of people, these items aren't actually very comfortable, but they're comfortable to me. And so comfortable wasn't my word. Another word that I was considering was minimal, right? And so I found some outfits that were very, very minimal. Like the items were very plain, very simple, very kind of normal shapes, nothing crazy, nothing extreme. And I asked myself, okay, could I wear this? Like, this is the very extreme version. Could I wear it? I could. I would feel a bit not myself, but I could. But then I asked, okay, if we do the complete opposite. So what's the opposite of minimal? It's embellished, something that has a lot of details. Do I love this sort of thing? And the answer is yes. I mean, I literally just showed you 2 blouses that had a lot of decoration. I like sometimes having jackets or items that have a lot of detail. And so again, minimal wasn't it. The next one was classic. And again, let's take this to the extreme. Here's some outfits. And I pictured myself in them and they'll be okay, but just again, very boring for me. I just don't feel like myself. I've worn outfits like this and I don't like it. It doesn't feel like me. And then the opposite of classic is trendy, is novelty, something more interesting, something that in a few years' time is going to look a bit outdated. And the thing is, I do sometimes like a little bit of a trendy thing. I like sometimes more novelty items that for other people aren't classic at all. And so again, that couldn't be my practical word because it is not me. And finally, because this person told me that, okay, it actually looks like feminine, let's take feminine to the extreme. Could I wear something with a lot of ruffles and bows? Yeah. Could I wear very floral things? Yeah. Could I do an all pink outfit? Yeah. Again, doesn't feel super like me, but out of all the other ones, this feels the least uncomfortable. And then the opposite of feminine is this very masculine, very structured, right? Like sharp blazers, sharp coats with like big sleeves and very kind of straight shape, very tailored stiff blouses, Oxford shoes, ties, very sturdy cotton. And all of those things, I can't wear that. Like I have had items like this. I still have a couple items, but if something isn't soft, isn't kind of nicely flowing on the body, I can't do it. It's just completely not me. I don't reach for those items. And so that's why for me, feminine was my practical word. And so that is how, by asking yourself, okay, let's take this aesthetic to the extreme. Which of those makes me the least uncomfortable? That's probably your word. Or if you take it kind of completely the opposite, which one do you hate the most if you take the opposite of it, right? And that is going to help you to find your word. The second one, and I think this one can be quite easy for some people and very challenging for other people, is the aspirational one. So what Alison recommends is to create a Pinterest board and pin a lot of different outfits. And again, try to find how would you describe that style? Because aspirational style is how you want to be perceived, where you want to guide yourself in the future. And it's a word that is not about your comfort zone, which is the first one, but this word is so much more about like growth and curiosity, about creativity, about the next future version of you. And so if you've made a Pinterest board, that's great. I think this can be very, very helpful. But for me personally, I just got a bit overwhelmed and I like to see patterns. I like to see how things connect. And just a Pinterest board wasn't doing it for me. And so what I did is I copy pasted a lot of those items on Canva and then arranged them by outfit formulas. So I asked myself, what kind of outfit templates do I see? And so, for example, I found that there were a lot of outfits of wide leg trousers with kind of open button down shirt. There were a lot of interesting skirts with a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. There were a lot of shorts and mini skirts with something a bit more oversized on top. And so I tried to group them by outfit formulas. And that actually helped me to identify the commonalities. Now, for you, you might group them by an item that you see. So, for example, you might group all of the outfits that have shorts, or by color, all of the white outfits or all of the black outfits. Just try to find some common themes within the items and put them all together, because that's going to help you to see what you're actually drawn to. So you can see in mine, I noticed that I had unconventional shapes or details, some unexpected elements. I had bold colors or bolder patterns, and I also had quite creative or non-traditional styling or pairing. So it might be, for example, something very feminine with something more masculine, or black and white, kind of very contrasting, or something that is very sporty with something very polished. And so for me, the word that came to me is edgy, because edgy as a style is about combining those things that are a little bit unexpected, unusual, that don't necessarily belong together, kind of contrasting. And so for me, the word edgy made a lot of sense. And that person, again, who's reviewing my inspiration said the same thing, like, I think edgy suits perfectly in here. And so again, let's go and put this to the test with my two questions. So let's take the opposite. The opposite of edgy is very cohesive, very classic, very expected, maybe minimal, predictable. And that is not to say that this is bad, but all of the elements belong to the same aesthetic. So for example, in this first outfit, you see the jeans, the t-shirt, the sneakers, they're all very casual and sporty, right? Very simple items. And so for me, I feel the worst in this kind of outfit. Like literally, I know some people love it. Some people look amazing in it. I don't like myself in that kind of outfit. For me, it's just a no-no. Then another one that is very different aesthetic is this lady styled in here. And so you can see all of the items in here are very feminine and very traditional, classic items, classic pieces. And again, there's nothing unexpected. It all looks like it belongs together in this outfit. A little bit better than the previous one, but still completely not me. And then the final one, again, you see it's all kind of one color, the same sort of style. It's all very feminine, preppy sort of aesthetic. And again, I don't aspire to look like this. Nothing wrong with the outfit, just this is not my aspirational word. And so that's kind of how I was quite certain that the edginess is correct, because I didn't like outfits that lacked edginess. But now, let's kind of take the edgy to the extreme and see if I still like it, if I'm still inspired by it. And so you can see in those outfits, they're still quite different from the ones that I had pinned. They're definitely tougher, stronger, more black, more extreme version of edgy. But actually, I like them a lot more. Now, if I had to wear them, I'll still feel a bit uncomfortable. I'll feel a little bit like I'm wearing a costume, but less of a costume than the other way, kind of the other end of the spectrum. And so for me, I can still get inspired and take elements from those outfits or styling and just make them a little bit more me. But overall, I love those outfits. I can still get inspired by them. And so that's how I knew edgy is the correct aspirational word. And finally, word number 3 is the emotional one. And how Allison puts it is describing how you want to feel in your clothes. And the same word, for example, sexy, might mean completely different things to me and you and to 5 different people. Same things with things like powerful and strong. And so for you, this means simply that find a word that you understand, that makes sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, but to you. And again, you might find it easier to have some of the outfits that you put together and just feel a little bit off. And so for me, some of the outfits that I would put together are fine, but I just feel a little bit off. And when I ask myself why, they just felt a little bit undone, a little bit too casual and relaxed, and maybe a little bit baggy and oversized in not this kind of cool, edgy way, but just undone, you know? And so that's how I realized that my word was polished or put together. They're kind of the same to me. And that can seem really, really strange. And this is really important to understand that Allison says your words might be completely contrasting to each other, right? Like might be completely the opposite. Like one might be fitted and one might be oversized. And that's normal. And so for me, edgy is combination of these unexpected, unconventional things, and then polished is usually associated with things kind of belonging together, feeling very sleek. And so this can be seen as opposites. But at the same time, to me, polished is having a little bit of structure, having more clean lines, having something that makes you feel put together. I don't like things being super undone. They can be a little bit relaxed, but not undone. I like people to almost think like, okay, she's put some thought into her outfit. And some people hate that. They want to feel really effortless. Like I just woke up and threw things on. But for me, I don't like that, right? That's not me. And so that's how I came with feminine, edgy, and polished. And so let me actually show you in real time how I can use those words to transform some of my outfits from things that are just okay to things that feel very much like me. So this first outfit is something that I feel a lot of people like. It's basically shorts and a t-shirt. And on purpose, I tried to actually take two of my most sort of masculine items or androgynous items that I have, which is sort of a baggier t-shirt and a pair of plain black shorts. Now, to some of you, this may not be very masculine, but to me, in my wardrobe, these are probably the most masculine items. And so I decided to wear them with kind of chunky sandals and a red bag. And so this is a very, very casual outfit. Now, for some of you, this might be an amazing outfit, but it just felt a bit off to me. And so what was missing was pretty much everything, right? These were not very feminine items. It wasn't necessarily very edgy as an item because all of the items were sort of in the same style, in the same aesthetic. And then finally, it wasn't actually very polished. So there are two different ways that you can deal with outfits like this. And so the first one is just say, okay, I'm actually not going to wear those items together, right? And so, for example, with the shorts, I can wear them with more feminine items such as this blouse. I can put a lot of jewelry on, having a belt, the bag, and also changing the shoes to slightly heeled leather sandals. Still very comfortable. I walk in those sandals whole day without any issues. But you can see straight away, this is more feminine, a little bit more edgy because things are contrasting, and it's definitely more polished. And the same thing applies to the t-shirt. In this outfit, I've paired it with one of my favorite silk skirts. It has a slit, a very sort of feminine vibe and pattern. I also paired it with the same heeled sandals, and I added a black leather chain bag for, again, a little bit of that edginess and contrast with the skirt and the sandals. And so both of those outfits, I love. I've worn those outfits. I feel really good in them. They feel like me. But this is not necessarily solving the problem. So let's take the exact same outfit and see how can we actually make this a lot more like me? How can we use the style words? And so the first thing I did was adding a belt, which is straight away adding more polish and a bit more contrast. Again, adding the sandals and a little bit more of a structure. And I actually kept the bag the same because I don't think the problem necessarily was with the bag, but I wear it on the shoulder, which is a slightly different way and a little bit more polished as well. And with all of the gold accessories, it just looks a lot better. Now, can I take this even more polished? Yes, I could add a blazer, I could add a more structured bag, but I kind of wanted to keep the same vibe, the same purpose of the outfit. So it's still very casual, but this is my version of casual, okay? So it's much more feminine, much more polished, a little bit more edgy than the very, very basic one. And now let me actually show you how you can up how many of the style words you use and take an outfit from just okay to something that feels very much like you. In the second set of outfits, again, I wanted to take one of the items that is probably one of the more masculine ones, and it's this checked blazer. And I wanted to see if I can style it in a way that really feels like me. In the first outfit, I styled it in a very sort of expected way. So black trousers, black, very inconspicuous jumper, black bag, loafers, and the blazer. And I don't think this is a bad outfit. I could wear this outfit and it's absolutely fine. It's quite plain, but it's absolutely fine. I would say it's like a 6 out of 10 outfit. Would I feel bad wearing it? No, but it still doesn't feel like me. And so let me show you how I can take this to feel 100% like me. So you can see I tried to keep most of the things the same at the beginning just to show you how by changing one or two elements, you can still make a completely different outfit. And so I've kept the loafers, I kept the top and the blazer, and the only thing I really changed is the bottom. So I added this skirt, is my favorite skirt, is very feminine, and I just added a little bit of jewelry. Straight away, that looks a lot more feminine, a lot more like me, and a little bit more edgy because we're having the very kind of oversized big blazer with a very short length of the skirt, so it creates a bit of that edge. Now, the next thing we can do is we can actually change the shoes. And you can see the shoes are very sleek, but they're leather. So again, we are going a little bit more edgy, more contrasting. And with the heel, again, contrast with the classic style of the blazer. And so straight away, we're taking it up a notch. Now, if we add a belt, that is also a little bit edgy, that can contribute to the vibe. And finally, I've added a hat, which creates a little bit more of an unexpected feel. And I also changed the bag to be this orange, slightly more hobo bag to play on the orange plaid in the blazer. And now this outfit is a 10 out of 10 for me. For you, it might be completely over the top. It might not be your favorite. But for me, it really perfectly encapsulates both the feminine and the edgy side. And it still retains the polished feeling of the first outfit as well. And so this is how you can take things up a notch and change them to really suit your words. And now that I found my style words, I think getting dressed is just so much easier because all I need to ask myself is, what's missing from this outfit? Am I missing some feminine touches? Am I missing the contrast and the edge? Is it very predictable and that's what I'm missing? Or am I missing the polish a little bit? Does it feel too casual and too relaxed and undone? And some outfits would only miss one of those things. Some outfits might miss a lot more. And by knowing your style words, you can literally bring the elements that are going to take your outfit from a 5 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 every single time. So let me know in the comments below what are your style words. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more style videos.